You're listening to The Mark Cox Show. Follow the show on Facebook, facebook.com/The Mark Cox Show.
If you're feeding a person a crap sandwich with a smile, it's still a crap sandwich.
All right, welcome back into the Mark Cox Show. And, lots of disappointment probably in some sectors for the election yesterday. Some tax increases went up. People weren't happy about that. Others were happy about it. I was thrilled to see my friend Mayor James Knowles get reelected in the city of Ferguson. Mayor, how are you?
I'm doing great, Mark. Thank you.
You bet. Well, congratulations on your victory yesterday.
Thank you.
I wasn't too thrilled when I signed up for signed onto Twitter this morning and saw the headline from NBC News. Right now they'd kind of been building up to this for a couple of days because they apparently expected that you were going to get swept out of office because of what happened in Ferguson 2 years ago. So when they woke up last night and realized that you were going to win, this is how they headline their story. Ferguson, Missouri declines to elect first black mayor. So they immediately went to the race issue and acted like there was something wrong with Ferguson because they didn't elect your opponent, Ella Jones. And I'm thinking to myself when I watched that, what if on November 9th of last year, the headline in all the major newspapers had been, America declines to elect the first female president. That's kind of burying the lead. I mean, if you think that they should have elected the first female president, the bottom line is, congratulations, President Donald Trump. Congratulations, Mayor James Knowles. I mean, you have to be disappointed with coverage like that.
Oh, absolutely. I think at this point, unfortunately, we're used to it, right? But I mean, that's I don't know what to say. This is just, I guess we're used to it,
Right.
I would hope by now that this would have been, a vindication to some extent, where people would say that I've never stood for election. I've never, had the opportunity to stand before the people since the Michael Brown issue. So this whole idea of, maybe he wouldn't make it. Maybe he's not legitimate. I mean, it's settled. It's done. I mean, what else do you want to know before they expect that this is the will of the people?
Well, I referred to it earlier. You were one of the youngest people elected on the city council there? Weren't you 25 when you started?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I was the youngest person ever elected to this Ferguson City Council in the 25-year experience here.
So that was 12 years ago. And, if we just rewind the tape here to just before Mike Brown's death, Ferguson was thriving in a lot of ways, and people who hadn't been there for whatever reason and hadn't experienced it, shame on them. But you had and still do nice restaurants where people can sit out and eat their dinner, or go somewhere and smoke a cigar and have a drink. I mean, you got some nice places there in Ferguson, and that seems to have all been overshadowed with this issue of race and Department of Justice investigations and all of that the last 2 years.
Well, and NBC News was just here, and they, like you said, they've been leading up to this story. I sat down with them, and I had some conversations over the weekend with Ron Allen, and they just couldn't grasp what was important to voters. And I told him, and I'm sure he didn't like it, and he probably doesn't like me, and which is probably why he wanted to be, do the kind of headlines they have. But I told him, I said, to you, Ron Allen, you think everything's about race. You think that everything here, that the average voter in Ferguson, the most important thing to them is all of this high-minded and national speak about race and issues, and those are important issues. But I mean, when I go door to door, people want the community to come together. They don't expect me or the city to solve the racial problems in the entire country, but they want us to come together as a community, and they want us to deal with that issue. And they also care about very important meat and potatoes issues. Economic development, which you talked about, we've been successful with, even after the unrest. They care about their streets. I mean, you're a councilman. That's what everybody complains about.
Right.
They care about their public safety. They want to know that when their tax dollars are being spent the best way possible. And I hear that door to door every day, person to person, black, white, renter, homeowner, and all he can talk about, and all many people can talk about is, like you said, the issues of race, and that's an important issue to deal with a racial, some of the strife that we've experienced, but it's just part of the puzzle.
So let's talk about that for just a minute. The consent decree that Ferguson agreed to with the Department of Justice. The Attorney General, Jeff Sessions, just announced that they're going to be reviewing all of those that were signed recently. Are you concerned about that? Are you happy that they may be revisiting some of this? Because, quite frankly, I'll say it. I'm not expecting you to say it. I thought that the Obama Justice Department was overly aggressive with things they determined had to be changed no matter what. So maybe this is a chance to revisit some of the things in that consent decree that you guys were basically forced at the threat of lawsuit to accept.
Well, I mean, I can tell you, Mark, I led the team that negotiated this, and you're absolutely right. There was a certain amount of the consent decree that was boilerplate, and by that I mean they didn't walk in and say, Ferguson, you have a deficiency here, and here is the remedy that we would like to negotiate with you to fix it. What they said, I mean, they gave us 100 pages of stuff, and as I went through it, I'm like, well, what does this have to do with Ferguson? What did we do wrong that we have to do this? And they said, well, that's what we make everybody do. I bet you there's probably 50 pages of that's what we make everybody do. And so you're right. There was certainly a part of that came down from Washington D.C. that said, this is how we in D.C. want to remake law enforcement in America. Now, do I think that a lot of this is going to change for us? I mean, it's being overseen by a judge. It's already part of an agreement. Probably not. What I hope to see, and what we've always asked for, is for the Justice Department to work with us to ensure that everything we're doing reform-wise is achievable, the timelines are achievable, that it's affordable, and at the end of the day, the consent decree is about constitutional policing. As long as we're policing constitutionally, that's the goal.
Yeah.
Not being subjective to overreaching bureaucracies in D.C.
We're talking to Ferguson Mayor James Knowles, who just got reelected yesterday. So Prop P passed. I know that it's going to bring some additional monies targeted at law enforcement into municipalities like Ferguson. What are you? I know that your staffing is down some over there. Is this like a breath of fresh air for your police department in Ferguson? Do you need this money?
The problem is everybody's getting the money. So what's the problem here in St. Louis region right now? St. Louis County, Ferguson, Florissant, many cities can't hire enough police officers. You can't find enough people who want to go to the academy.
Right.
Now, we're all going to give everybody a pay raise probably, and that hopefully will attract some more people into this. But it could also make it really difficult for people like Ferguson to compete. I mean, St. Louis County is already down 100 officers. They're going to hire 100 more and double up on calls. If we can't get people into the academy now, how are we going to get people in the academy? And then what's going to be left over for Ferguson or Florissant or Wildwood?
Sure.
From county. So, that's my concern that could happen. The the 1,030,000 that Ferguson gets, we're going to put to good use, and I've always been a good steward of the people's money, and they trust me with that. But, there could be the competition for officers could get really, really tough going forward.
Well,
what I hope is that young people and that people will support law enforcement and more people want to go into law enforcement so we can have good officers on the street, because that's really what we need in the region right now.
Yeah, and maybe that helps attract some more people to it who were questioning whether that was the direction they wanted to go with their career. Maybe we can convince them to go into public service. James Knowles, yep, thank you so much, and look forward to running into you here shortly.
Thank you, Mark.
All right.
I'll take you out for a drink at the brew house.
We'll look forward to that for sure. Hey,
right,
Mayor, thank
care.
you. All right, take care. Mayor James Knowles there from Ferguson. When I saw that NBC headline this morning, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to call him and invite him on the show this afternoon, because that is so ridiculous. NBC, you can go back on their website and just search for the word Ferguson. You can go back 3 days and look at them setting up the stories that this could be a historic vote in Ferguson. Is change going to sweep into Ferguson? Yesterday, their headline was Ferguson to decide if it wants a new mayor for the first time since the Mike Brown killing. And, of course, they point out that one candidate's white and the other one's black. So they're injecting the race issue into the race. What about the content of somebody's character? I was glad to see Mayor. I don't know Ella Jones. I was glad to see Mayor Knowles get reelected. Good for him, despite how the media wants to cover it. All right, 314-969-9797. We'll try to, Craig, I'll get to your phone call here in a minute, I promise. And we're also going to talk to Missouri State Senator Dave Schatz, who's been pushing this bill for a prescription drug monitoring program. Looks like they may have reached a compromise in the Senate. We'll update you on that and more coming up.
This is the Mark Cox Show. Air Comfort Service Heating and Cooling. Weather with Dave Murray.
Periods of rain and thunderstorms. The focus really during the afternoon hours. 62 for the high, dropping temperatures through the 40s. Tonight, light rain, windy and cold, 39 degrees. Thursday, chance of a couple of snow flurries around first thing in the morning on Thursday. It's windy and it's chilly. 55, some spotty frost around Friday morning. I'm Fox 2 meteorologist Dave Murray for FM News Talk 97.1.
The Mark Cox Show is sponsored in part by Granite Transformations. Let them transform your kitchen, bath, or commercial space. Explore the wide selection of products in their beautiful showroom in Chesterfield or online at granitetransformations.com. They have the perfect solution for your next project. So maybe you think this will be the year when you have to get a new air conditioner. Certainly not something people look forward to, but if you have a two-story house, for example, like I have a single unit, I can tell a definite difference between the temperature on the first floor and the temperature upstairs when you go up to sleep at night, right? They've got furnaces now that are so efficient, most homeowners get a 40% reduction in their cooling bills. And if you have a two-story home and a single AC, at Agers HVAC, they can offer solutions to bring that 10 to 12 degree difference between floors down to only 2 to 3 degrees difference. It's a huge difference. Brian Agers loves the fact that he has integrity and he deals with people honestly. And if he can repair your unit, that's what he's going to do instead of trying to push something new on you. That's for sure. Here's the deal. Right now, they can give you up to $1,700 in Lennox rebates on qualifying systems. And they're going to give you a discount, $20 off for new customers for a service call, just for listening to 97.1. Call Agers HVAC. Go to their website, easy to remember, AGERS, callagers.com.
Trial lawyers continue their attacks on Missouri companies, scaring off new investment and jobs. For years, Missouri's legal landscape has tilted in favor of the trial lawyers with their lobbyists and their money as they've conspired to gain more and more control over our legal system. Today, St. Louis is called the #1 judicial hellhole. We should be embarrassed if we let the trial lawyers continue to exploit Missouri's one-sided legal system. It's an outrage, it's wrong, and it hurts Missouri families. Picking the pockets of companies and working families and driving employers and jobs out of our state? Missouri needs to be the show-me state, not the shakedown state. We need to take away the power of the trial lawyers and their special interest cronies. Call 573-751-2000 today. Tell your legislators they need to reform our legal system and make us proud of Missouri again. Paid for by Missouri Rising.
SAF Holland at 308 West Walton in Warrenton is hiring positions for assemblers, welders, and CNC machine operators. SAF Holland is a manufacturer of trailer components such as axles, brakes, and suspensions. SAF Holland offers company-paid health insurance for employees and dependents, along with competitive starting wages of $14 to $17 per hour. Apply for this great career opportunity Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. at SAF Holland, located at 308 West Walton in Warrenton.
Let's say you and your neighbor each decide you want to sell your homes. Your neighbor decides to call a broker who charges them 7%. But you call Straight Realty and you find out that you'll pay a low commission of only 4%. Paying a 4% commission doesn't mean you're cheap. It just makes you smart. Hi, I'm Christina Straight, owner of